What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boys for Life. New movie out in theaters. Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett is back in the action-packed sequel to Bad Boys. This one not directed by Michael Bay, however, directed by somebody doing a Michael Bay impression. I did not like this movie. I did not like it at all. There's so many things wrong with it. Martin Lawrence seemed like he was on opiates the whole time. Everything about his performance was slow. Like just the way he spoke was like I felt bad for the guy. That stood out as being bad. The action sequences aren't necessarily that entertaining. They're kind of stupid in a lot of ways. I mean, with movies like, even Six Underground or John Wick, all of the superhero movies, like there's a lot of good action fight scenes in movies nowadays. So to go, I mean, even like, gunplay type scenes is done so much better in so many movies. So that wasn't interesting. The story was not interesting at all. They went from Cubans being the bad guy in the first two, since like that's kind of Miami and Cuba of like historically, and that's where these cops are from. Miami, although now they're part of this group called Ammo, which I haven't watched the second. I enjoy the first and second movie. I really like those movies. Don't get me wrong. So coming into this movie, I have fond memories of the originators of this franchise, but skeptical. One, Will Smith hasn't really been in anything good. The last movie I've enjoyed anyway, from Will Smith is Pursuit of Happiness, and that was a long, long time ago. But I did like Bad Boys 1 and 2, so I was hoping maybe this was going to be good. I didn't know that Michael Bay was not directing this one, even though Michael Bay, not like the best storyteller, but the dude knows how to film action. And this movie, the directors did not seem to know how to film action very well. Just like things were not like the way it was cut, the way things were shot. Like you don't really, it's confusing. You don't really see what's going on. It's not good. And like when people do interesting things in the fight scenes, they're like extremely stupid. They're just extreme. It's just laughably bad in a lot of ways. Now I'm sure there's people that love this movie, whatever, they like it, like the blue and the hot and cold lighting everywhere, just like that's all they need. And like a few funny lines here and there, kind of. I mean, Will Smith still charismatic, but playing off of Martin Lawrence. I don't know what's going on with Martin Lawrence, but he was in slow-mo. He was like at he was at like half speed, 3/4 speed. He was not, and the only real good thing about this, except for like a couple comedic moments and like maybe some fun thing happening in a fight scene, like the references. Basically, this is what so many shitty movies, like all of the DC movies, like there's reference, like the best parts of this, the things that made the audience laugh the most were all the references. Like the old boyfriend came back from Marcus's daughter's boyfriend from or I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. He's back, he was funny, okay, but then like in every scene, if something happens, Marcus is like almost vomiting, which is, he did that before, but it's like they just lay it on thick with the references, and it didn't add at all to the story, didn't add at all to the characters. It's just like, here, remember this from these movies that were also in the franchise. It just not good. The only interesting thing in this entire movie, in my opinion, is the buff tech guy, right? like as far as movie tropes go, usually the tech guy is like fat and or short and scrawny. Very rare. I mean, unless everybody in the movie is buff, you rarely get a buff tech guy. And he had an interesting backstory. He's like he was an agent or whatever, and he hit a guy and killed him, and ever since then he's been a tech guy, and he's really good at his job as a tech guy, but he has other talents, and you get to see him unleash these talents later on. Probably the most interesting fight scenes also. But yeah, that's the only interesting part of this movie. Not the fact that we have this new Mike Lowrey backstory where out of the academy, he was pulled in to go deep undercover in Mexico, right? So they shoehorn Mexico in as the new villains because, Cubans aren't trendy as the bad guy anymore. It's all about the Mexicans. Thank you, Trump. So now, he had this relationship with the wife of a drug dealer, and she taught him how to dress. That's why he dresses like a drug dealer. And like they had so they had a kid together. So it's like it shoehorns in this like whole and she's like, by the way, a witch. She's like, it starts off this movie where she's doing this, like she's in a trance saying these like, whatever incantation while she's in a sweat factory, sewing garments in a darkly lit sweat factory, and there's guards everywhere that are like banging on the tables and knocking all the finished merchandise on the ground because that's good business practice. And then she like there's this kill scene that's the dumbest kill scene with a knife. Like so many of these fight scenes and stuff, it was like written by like a teenager who hasn't read a book yet, like they like just kind of ridiculous action scenes that are so unrealistic. I mean, action movies in general are pretty unrealistic, but it's like the things that happen, it's just stupid. Like there's a scene where there's a motorcycle chase scene which is mildly interesting, except for the fact that like a Gatling gun appears out of nowhere. There's some kind of parts of that. It's just like it's such an imitation of a good action movie, right? It doesn't land at all. It's trying to be Michael Bay without any of the things that Michael Bay knows how to do, sadly. Like after watching Six Underground, I've gained so much more respect for Michael Bay. Right? Horrible at storytelling. Probably shouldn't. No desire to see his movies with, robots. But just straight up action, fun action scenes where this was like, okay. And I was upset with all the people in the theater that were laughing at all these parts of this movie. It was bad. It makes me feel bad for our culture and where it's going, because we just do not care about education in this country. Like, just people can be normal human beings functioning out in the world and have zero education, just not really understand the world in any way, and just kind of making it up as they go along. And that's kind of what I was in the theater with. But yeah, it's not good. It's full of references. It's not full of references, but the references are fun if you've seen the earlier ones. But literally the only entertaining thing is the buff tech guy. Even the fact that this kind of sets up a bad boy universe where at the end of the movie he's like passing the torch on to his son. I didn't care I was just ready for this movie to be done. I checked the time twice while watching this movie because I just wanted to be done. It wasn't even an entertaining, dumb action movie. It was just dumb action and dumb writing and dumb references. They kill off like one of the only other interesting characters. There's a lot of religion in this too, which is I don't know. It's a lot of stuff I didn't like about Bad Boys for Life. And for sure not hopeful for whatever movie Will Smith does next. He seems to just pick stinkers. But yeah, that's it for this episode. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.